Hello, I'm Geoff Layer, Chair of the Disabled Students Commission. The Commission was established by the Universities Minister to investigate and recommend changes to the higher education sector so that disabled students are better supported. Disabled students need to be able to plan their time and address how they work, study and live to a greater extent than any other student. Many disabled students need reasonable adjustments to be in place to support them. We are only 3 months away from the start of the new academic year, and both students and higher education providers face a number of challenges. Over the last 4 months, many higher education providers moved to online learning and support for all students through a rapid transformation. The Commission has held 4 roundtables with students and providers to look at the lessons learned from that process. We've also looked at the needs of both returning and new students. From these considerations, we've identified 7 challenges for the sector. The new academic year, only 3 months away, and so there is a degree of urgency about these challenges. Disabled students need communication, certainty, consistency, choice, and clarity. And this is not always easy in the current pandemic situation, but providers need to ensure that disabled students are fully supported. The 7 challenges we have set out include: firstly, supporting students with information, advice and guidance during the clearing process. Student decision-making is taking place later than ever before in the recruitment cycle. Physical visits to campuses are currently curtailed, and students' grades are calculated. All of this places additional pressure on disabled students. The provider websites, open days, visiting policy, and clear and proactive communication with applicants need to specifically address these concerns. Secondly, late applicants for the disabled student allowance may find funding for reasonable adjustments is not confirmed before a student starts their course. Providers need to ensure that such students are not disadvantaged and that any facilities or support required is in place on time. Thirdly, student support services need to address how they support disabled learners in these difficult times. These requirements will change, and there may also be returning students whose disability is new and was caused or worsened by the pandemic. Fourthly, disabled students will have specific concerns about their providers' campuses and accommodation. There needs to be clear messages at the start of the academic year about what can and will be available both for the current situation and the event of a future lockdown. Fifthly, welcome and induction programs, as well as ongoing social activities, need to be carefully planned in order to ensure that disabled students can engage and benefit from them. Sixthly, blended learning needs to be delivered inclusively, and this means consistency within the subject and clear communication about what to expect and student choice. All too often, assumptions are made about giving disabled students more time for assessment. This can be beneficial, but it can also increase the burden and the pressure on the learner. Providers need to look at how they can provide choice in learning delivery and assessment for disabled students. Seventh, providers need to ensure that disabled students are able to have maximum benefit from their studies without having unnecessary obstacles. Accessibility needs to be embedded across all learning platforms and technologies, with sufficient training in place for staff and information for students to ensure that they can engage meaningfully. The social model of disability is quite clear in setting out how society has developed obstacles in life by placing barriers in front of people. Higher education providers need to remove these barriers and focus on engaging with the disabled student and trusting them with issues such as extensions and learning style. These challenges are laid out in more detail in our recommendations to the Office for Students and higher education providers. Time is of the essence. There are 3 months to make a difference for disabled students.